the start of each flight.
Nala, Kiran, Anzia, Shuna, and Shurya.
Across interview 有啊，係你先。Across interview。
Sorry for the warm cabin. Right now, we are still in the progress of refueling. It will take about perhaps less than 10 minutes to complete, and as soon as the refueling completed, we'll start the AMU and establish the air condition for all of us. The flight time today is 12 hours and 20 minutes. That's over Europe. It's forecasted cloudy and bumpy. I will remind you with the signal signs. And the rest of the day, it's on and off, forecasted clear. In the meantime, please bear with us with the cabin condition.
Oh, has she moved? Like Birmingham. Oh, they're in studio.
Safety conventions, as I mentioned at the start of each flight. It's tempting to not focus, cause let's face it, you've heard this all before. This perhaps you've noticed this. 1, 2, 3, 4, fasten your seatbelts. 1, 2, 3, 4, fasten your seatbelts.
It's really not that difficult. Seatbelts are mystical.
Going to the movies for more inflation. The lighter whistle will attract attention. If you have to use an evacuation slide, remove your heels as they may damage the slide. Leave all your belongings, move quickly to the nearest exit, and jump on the slide. In the event of an emergency, be sure to follow your cabin crew's instructions at all times.
Brace yourself! Plan your exit!
Are you ready? Yes, we're ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our safety demonstration.
As the safety features on this aircraft may differ from other types of aircraft, we ask that you all review the safety information card located in the seat pocket in front of you.
Once again, welcome aboard Malaysia Airlines, and we hope you enjoy our Malaysian hospitality.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to KL International Airport, Terminal 1. To our visitors, we like to say welcome to Malaysia, and to Malaysians, welcome home. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is turned off. To be careful whenever you open the overhead compartment, and do remember to take all your personal belongings with you. And to transit passengers, you are advised to check on your itinerary on the flight information display screen or proceed to the transfer desk for further assistance. You are required to be at your departure gate 30 minutes prior to your departure. As to Sila perhatian kepada setiap pengembara yang tiba di Malaysia.